Our first update is from Southport Magistrates Court, where Mongols Bikie Harley Barbaro has had a consorting charge dramatically withdrawn, after it was revealed the police case was based on mistaken identity. Barbaro had been accused of habitually consorting with Harley Cranston, a fully patched Mongols member, after officers from police's consorting unit claimed to have CCTV footage of the two meeting twice, once at a Gold Coast gym and again at the Ashmore Tavern in August 2023. Under Section 77B of the Crimes Act, just two interactions with a recognized offender are enough to establish a charge of habitual consorting. But during the court hearing, the prosecution's case began to collapse when the CCTV footage was played in the court. Barbaro then leaned toward his solicitor and whispered, "That's not Cranston." The man police identified as Cranston was actually Luke Atkins, another heavily tattooed former Mongols member who had previously served time in prison for drug and burglary offenses. Atkins also happened to be Barbaro's co-worker at a concreting company, while Cranston was not employed there at the time. Defense counsel then used the confusion to dismantle the prosecution case during cross-examination, asking the officer to confirm whether he personally knew both Cranston and Atkins. When pressed, the detective conceded he knew both men but could not definitively confirm who was in the footage. Solicitor then pointed out that the two men were wearing similar high-visibility shirts from the same concreting company, which likely caused the mix-up. Faced with mounting evidence that the identification was wrong, police prosecutor requested a short adjournment to consult with his superiors. When the hearing resumed, he formally withdrew the charge, acknowledging that the prosecution could not proceed. The court transcript made no mention of any costs being awarded, suggesting that each party bore their own expenses. The case has since raised questions about the reliability of police identification methods in Queensland's ongoing campaign against bikie clubs, particularly in cases built around CCTV evidence. Staying with the Mongols, our next update is on new details that have emerged in the murder case of senior bikie Shane Bowden, who was executed in the garage of his Pimpama home in 2020. During a committal hearing in the Brisbane Magistrates Court, it was revealed that one of the accused, Jake Taylor, allegedly made a prison confession to another inmate, admitting to have assisting in Bowden's killing. Bowden was gunned down at point-blank range, shot 21 times by two hooded men believed to be his former clubmates. 9 men have been charged with murder, including Hayden Forbes, Ian Crowden, Junior Torope, James Mao, Joshua Small, David Pye, Adam Murphy, Peter Michael Cummins, and Jake Taylor. The court heard that a police officer took a statement from a witness who claimed Taylor had spoken about his involvement. However, the officer admitted the conversation was not recorded. The high-profile case continues this week as prosecutors build their case around the alleged internal betrayal that led to Bowden's execution. Shane Bowden, a 47-year-old high-profile bikie from Queensland's Gold Coast, was brutally murdered in an execution-style shooting on October 12, 2020. Once a prominent member of the Mongols MC and having patched over from the rival Finks in 2013, Bowden had been expelled from the Mongols shortly after his release from prison and rejoined the Finks, sparking a deadly internal feud. Police allege the hit was a corporate retaliation orchestrated by Mongols leaders, involving months of GPS tracking, encrypted communications, and getaway vehicles. He was shot 21 times with a machine pistol as he returned from the gym. In 2021, police named James Winston Mao and Junior Jasmine Torope as the alleged gunmen responsible for the execution-style killing. Detectives allege Mao and Torope carried out the shooting while others handled planning, surveillance, and getaway logistics. However, 8 Mongols members were arrested across 6 suburbs and charged with murder. Among those charged were key figures and senior members, including Brisbane West Chapter President Ian Ronald Crowden, accused of organising and funding the hit, and Vice President Hayden Thomas Forbes, the son of Mongols National President Nick the Knife Forbes. Bowden had survived a previous drive-by shooting in Melbourne months before his death. The ongoing trial as of 2025 has revealed jailhouse confessions and a $250,000 reward for key information. Next we move to Melbourne, where a suspicious fire has destroyed the Comanchero-linked Nitro Gym in Mordialloc, in city's southeast, on Tuesday 14th of October. Emergency services were called to the scene around 3:30 a.m., where 34 firefighters worked to bring the blaze under control. Fire crew had to break through a rear roller door to access the building, as flames tore through the property. Police and fire investigators were also brought on the site, treating the incident as deliberate arson. An Instagram story from Nitro Gym also confirmed the outlet will be closed indefinitely due to the fire. This is the latest in a series of attacks against the Nitro Gym chain, which has long been associated with the Comanchero MC, including ex-Comanchero National President Mick Murray. The original Hallam Gym, considered the group's stronghold, has previously been the target of multiple police raids, shootings, and firebombings. This gym outlet is reportedly operated by a relative of two senior Comanchero figures, adding to suspicions that the attack could be part of ongoing bikie-related tensions in Victoria's underworld. However, it will be interesting to see whether investigators can link this latest fire to the broader pattern of violence surrounding the Comanchero-linked gym network. Staying with the Comancheros, our next update is on Comanchero World Commander Mark Buddle, once one of Australia's most feared bikie bosses, who has had stalking and intimidation charges against him withdrawn and dismissed. However, a 2-year domestic violence order has been imposed, banning him from contacting his ex-wife Melanie Teraswisha, except through legal or court-approved channels. Buddle is currently in Barwon Prison in Victoria facing charges for importing 160 kilograms of cocaine valued at $40 million after he was deported from Turkey in 2022. The investigation also involved Operation Ironside, a covert operation using the encrypted Onome phone platform, which Buddle allegedly used to manage international drug trafficking and other criminal activities. Although neither Buddle nor his ex-wife appeared in court for the recent hearing, the domestic violence order includes standard prohibitions against assault, threats, stalking, harassment, property damage, or harm to animals. The matter had been initially scheduled as a brief hearing. Mel also faces separate legal issues, charged with engaging in proceeds of crime exceeding $100,000 and potentially facing up to 20 years in prison. This case continues to highlight the long reach of law enforcement into Comanchero-linked criminal networks and offshore operations. Staying in Victoria, our next update is from Victoria Police, who have dismantled a large-scale cannabis operation in Melbourne's southeast, seizing approximately 4,500 plants with an estimated street value of $15 million. The operation took place across two properties, one on Havenstone Drive in Keysborough, and another on Meadow Road in Devon Meadows, during simultaneous raids on 7th of October. Victoria Police released dramatic drone footage showing a group of men sprinting across the farm, desperate to escape the officers who had arrived to raid the property. They dashed through fields and around buildings, hoping to slip past the police. But despite their frantic efforts, every one of them was quickly caught, bringing an end to their attempt to flee and leaving a clear picture of the dramatic scene that unfolded. 8 people were arrested at the scene, with 5 charged with cultivating a large commercial quantity of cannabis, and 1 also charged with possessing a drug of dependence. The other 3 were released on summons, and further charges are expected. The raids uncovered a sophisticated cultivation setup using gardening igloos, and police also seized a firearm, ammunition, cash, and quantities of amphetamines and cocaine. A forensic botanist will examine the plants before they are destroyed. Multiple units assisted in the operation, including the Springvale, Caulfield, Prahran, and Mornington Peninsula Divisional Response Units, the Greater Dandenong Neighborhood Policing Team, crime investigation units, and drone support. Sergeant Josh Gordon highlighted the significance of the seizure in preventing millions of dollars worth of cannabis from reaching the streets. Next up, Perth, where a trial which has been named as the trial of the decade, has now begun with former Comanchero and Rebels bikie David Pye being the main accused of orchestrating the contract killing of Rebels bikie boss Nick Martin, in one of Australia's most shocking public assassinations. Dozens of heavily armed police and even a police helicopter surrounded WA's court precinct as the trial began. In December 2020, 51-year-old Nick Martin was gunned down at Perth's Kwinana Motorplex in front of hundreds of spectators, including children. The single sniper round, using a Hornady hunting bullet, pierced his chest and also struck his daughter's boyfriend, ex-Bandito Ricky Chapman, who survived but later died in 2022 after a medical episode. 43-year-old Pye is accused of paying a 6-figure sum to hire a professional marksman for the hit, and is also accused of offering another $800,000 bounty to have Comanchero Ray Chili killed as well. The sniper, who is a former Army reservist and base jumper, carried out the assassination from a concealed position after using a drone for surveillance and training extensively with his rifle. He was arrested months later and was sentenced to 20 years in prison after agreeing to testify against Pye. The hit sparked Task Force Revello, a massive police operation targeting bikie networks across Western Australia, as authorities feared an all-out gang war. Investigators later traced the sniper through forensic evidence after he foolishly took the murder weapon to a gunsmith to have the barrel replaced. At the time of his death, Martin had become deeply unpopular among both rivals and his own Rebels club. He'd been accused of stealing club funds, involved in public brawls, including one with Hells Angels figure Dane Brajkovic, and was said to have lost support from within his ranks. Pye now faces a judge-alone trial in the WA Supreme Court, accused of masterminding the cold-blooded execution that sent shockwaves through Australia's outlaw bikie world. However, it will be interesting to see whether the prosecution can prove beyond doubt that he was the man who ordered Nick Martin's death. Next we move to Sydney, where two New Zealand nationals have been charged over an attempted importation of 40 kilograms of cocaine into Australia. The men, who are both 21, were stopped by Australian Border Force officers at Sydney International Airport on 10 October, when their suitcases were found to contain 20 kilograms of cocaine each, with a combined estimated street value of $13 million. If distributed, the drugs could have generated around 130,000 street deals. The strangest part of the arrest was that the men made no effort to hide the cocaine. When officers opened the suitcase, it was filled entirely with cocaine bricks, no clothes, no other items, just a blatant, full-on display of the white powder stash. The AFP formally charged both men with importing and possessing a commercial quantity of a border-controlled drug, offenses that carry a maximum penalty of life imprisonment. They were remanded in custody and are due to appear in court on December 3, 2025. AFP Detective Acting Superintendent Stuart Millen highlighted the ongoing efforts to combat air travel-based drug trafficking, while ABF Superintendent Elka West praised the targeting skills of officers in preventing a major shipment from reaching Australian streets. The investigation reflects coordinated work between federal agencies to disrupt organised criminal networks. Staying in Sydney, our next update comes from Organised Crime Squad detectives, who have charged 3 men and seized various firearms and 415 kilograms of drugs as part of an investigation into an Asian organised criminal network under Strike Force Barberton. Strike Force Barberton was set up by the State Crime Command's Organised Crime Squad and the New South Wales Crime Commission to investigate large-scale drug supply operations across the state, believed to be coordinated by a transnational network based in Southeast Asia. Following extensive investigations, on Tuesday, October 14, detectives with assistance from the Raptor Squad and the Public Order and Riot Squad executed 5 search warrants across Maze Hill, Bankstown, Campsie, and Bonnyrigg Heights. Police seized 415 kilograms of prohibited drugs, 3 pistols, more than 300 rounds of ammunition, $450,000 in cash, and a ballistic vest. The drugs included 287 kilograms of methamphetamine, 47 kilograms of cocaine, 81 kilograms of heroin, and 838 grams of MDMA, with a total estimated street value of $260 million. Officers also found an additional 20 kilograms of precursor chemicals. 2 men, aged 26 and 19, were arrested at the Maze Hill address and charged with 2 counts of supplying prohibited drugs and participating in a criminal group. They were refused bail and are due to appear in Parramatta local court. During the raids, police also found 3 gold-plated pistols believed to have been imported from overseas, along with several heroin bricks marked with the WO Globe brand. The WO Globe is a notorious brand of high-purity grade heroin, also known as China White, originating from the Golden Triangle of Myanmar, Thailand, Laos and China. Recognized by its double globe emblem featuring 2 lions with their paws resting on the globe, the symbol is widely known as a hallmark of international drug trafficking and a mark of high-purity heroin. Emerging during the Vietnam War era, it was sold to U.S. troops and became infamous for its role in the Asia-Pacific drug trade, linked to various Asian drug traffickers and warlords. The brand's persistence highlights sophisticated trafficking networks and branding strategies in illicit markets. It will be interesting to see how investigators trace the wider network behind this massive haul. With millions in drugs, cash, and weapons now off the streets, Strike Force Barberton has delivered a significant blow to the Transnational network's Australian arm, but detectives say the investigation is far from over. If you're looking for more exciting and eye-catching regular bikie and organized crime updates, don't hesitate, smash that subscribe button, spread the word rapidly, hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments section. Stay tuned, stay curious, stay awesome and take care. Wu-Tang.